Greetings and salutations, fellow YouTubers. This is A Shot of Whiskey, formerly Tessa Feller for Wife. Now, I'm sure that most of you recall the BuzzFeed videos of dumb questions one group has for another. Well, one of them inspired another group to compile their own questions. This group, the Black Business School, had 20 questions for us white folks to answer, and were posted by Boyce Watkins. I'm guessing he's an instructor at the school. As you can see here, the like-dislike ratio is heavily lopsided, giving a 1 to 18.84 ratio. Ouch. There's also some people in the comment section who claim to be black and dislike the video, such as this Layla chick right here, and Adomaster, whatever that means. Now, just like BuzzFeed, these questions are fucking imbecilic, and in some cases downright racist. Along with a link to the original video, I will also provide a link to the original BuzzFeed video, and my response to that rubbish. Oh yes, and just like with BuzzFeed as well, these guys don't know how to count questions. So, let's go ahead and start with the shit.
Be honest. You hate black people, don't you?
No, I hate people on an individual level. To hate a race because it is a race is dumb and illogical. Unless we're talking about elves. Fuck elves. After watching this video a couple of times, I don't even hate y'all in this video, despite y'all obviously being racist towards whites like me because I'm white. I'm annoyed by bigots like you, but I'd hope that y'all will do a 180 from your hatred rather than embrace the hate that you want me to have to feed your victim complex.
White people, do you know what gentrification is doing to black neighborhoods?
As I understand it, the overall process is intended to improve said communities. Yes, part of it often includes kicking some people out of their homes, which sucks. But isn't an overall improvement better than living in a shitty building that racist Democrats threw your ancestors into to keep them away from white people?
Do you have any idea?
Not from a first-hand experience, as I've only lived in a small white hick town most of my life, which, to be honest, some areas of it could have used some gentrification.
Why is being a former drug dealer a bad thing, but being a former slave owner totally okay in white America?
There is so much wrong with this question. Okay, drug dealers are a modern thing, whereas slave owners haven't been a thing in America for over 150 years. There isn't a single American alive today who is a former slave owner. Unless maybe there is one among the black, Mideastern, Eastern European, Indian, or Asian immigrants, as many of these countries still practice slavery.
Do you honestly think the structure of America is not based on racism?
Racism certainly had a role in it, but you'd be completely ignorant to think that it was the sole base for our nation.
Do you really think you discovered America?
Let's pretend that I speak on behalf of white people from the past. Yes, at some point, white people discovered the lands that eventually became known as the continent of North America. At some point, the Chinese discovered this continent too, but they found the West Coast, obviously. Even the people that we now refer to as natives had their ancestors discover this continent and South America too. The term discover relates to the basic historical chain that America follows, which is the English, which mostly ties into Southern Europe where the Renaissance occurred. Christopher Columbus was part of that, and as such, American culture and history sees his voyages as the lead-up to the discovery of these lands, even though most of his treks focused mostly on the Caribbean and Central America.
Do you really think it's yours?
To sum it up, yes, white people conquered and or bought the various lands from various natives and other European nations. White people fought the wars and signed the paperwork that unified many of them into the large, powerful nations of the United States of America and Canada. Don't snicker. Granted, black people played various roles in the process, but overall it was whites who did it. So yes, if we want to assign this nation to a single race, it is ours, the white folks. which we as a whole want to share with others, you included, despite what you might think.
When I'm upset, I'm an angry black man.
Or black woman.
But when you're upset, you're just upset. Aren't you an angry white man?
Yes, you're right, but angry black people is a stereotype. Looking just at the stereotype, when blacks get angry, shit gets scary. But when whites get angry, maybe they'll swear, but they're more likely to either let it go or seek a more civilized form of vengeance, such as reporting the problem to someone who has authority to do something, or they look like comical dorks. Now again, this is according to stereotypes. There are exceptions to both rules, but the reason the stereotype is structured this way is because many view it as being truer than not. Fight the stereotype. Don't let your emotion control your actions.
Why isn't racism illegal?
How would you measure such a concept? How would you determine if something is genuinely racist? What would that even mean? Let's play around with some ideas. Let's say that I were to declare that I hate black people. Should I be thrown in prison for saying that? I don't think so, because I support something called the First Amendment. I'll hold it so that way y'all can read this a little bit if you want. Okay, that should be good. Now, if I said that I was going to kill me a nigger, jail time would make sense, not because of the use of the N-word, but because I declared an intent to inflict harm onto someone, and race was the motivation. So what? We already have hate crime laws, which personally I think are dumb. Motivation shouldn't matter if it was intentional or not. And if you haven't noticed, when blacks commit such crimes on whites because they are white, no such additions are made. The idea is considered a joke at best and a racist idea at worst. The idea of criminalizing racism because it's racism is flawed on many fronts.
Why is gaining the black vote so important, but mass incarceration against black people isn't?
Actually, it's politicians who care about getting the black vote, especially since many states have a high enough concentration of blacks that can easily sway the results. Part of it is also a matter of social control. Come on, take a serious look at the history of how Democrats have treated blacks, and how for a few decades Republicans have abandoned the black voters they originally organized to fight for, and are only now trying to make a serious attempt to win them back. I'm not going to go on into this much more, but as for the incarceration thing, stop committing so many crimes. That's on y'all. Teach them to stop shooting each other. Yes, we whites have these problems too, but the numbers tell a story that, when told factually, show that the problem lies heavily within your own community. Fix that before you start pointing fingers my way.
Why are all of y'all afraid of black people?
I can't speak on behalf of other whites regarding this one, because I'm not. My guess is that for those that might be, could have something to do with the answer that I gave for the previous question.
I don't want your purse. I just want the same pay rate.
Then work the same job with the same qualifications.
What are you going to do about systematic racism?
Nothing, because it doesn't exist. Well, racism does, but not systemic. By the way, someone needs to keep things straight on whether it's systemic or systematic. There is a difference after all.
Why must you own all the media outlets?
I didn't realize that I owned CNN. Holy shit. I'm gonna head on over to my long vacant office and change the shit out of my company. Where's my packet of pink slips? Oh wait, you're grouping us all together because you're a bigot. My bad, I forgot. I'm not sure how true your statement is, as the true stereotype is that most media, if not all, is controlled by Jews. My guess to your question, though, is that they either earned the leadership role or they inherit it from someone else who earned it.
I mean, could we at least have BET back?
Didn't that network die off because nobody was watching it? Well, if the BET is still around, I don't care if a black person owns it or not. It would make sense, but I don't care.
Why does every race qualify for reparations except black people?
Why are you making a bunch of unsourced claims on the internet? So I just gotta say, citation needed!
Personally, I don't think any race deserves reparations. At most, I could see individuals who legitimately experienced things like slavery getting something from those that directly inflicted these harms onto them. but demanding that I personally give you everything I have because of something that ended 150 plus years ago in this country that started from your race doing things to your race makes no sense.
A long time ago. Really not that long ago.
Well, which is it? Make up your mind.
You guys prevented black people from learning how to read and write.
Which you and I seem to agree that was bullshit.
But why did you let them keep the Bible?
Because much of Christian history was littered with fucking hypocritical morons.
White people.
Yes, white people. You've directed this video towards white people, expecting white people to respond. Was that really necessary to add white people like that? Oh wait, that's right, you're a bigot.
Historically, you've never liked black people.
Not true. Many white nations have had various treaties and business arrangements with various African nations. Some of our literature even debunks this claim, such as Shakespeare's Othello. Okay, maybe that's not the greatest example. But since y'all brought up the Bible earlier, Jesus declared that he wanted his followers to go out unto all the world and make disciples of all men, including whites, including blacks.
But why have you always accepted black people's money?
For the same reason bigoted black people today like taking money from the white people that they hate through reparations. It's money. How hard is it to understand that? Why did black people accept white people's money 400 plus years ago when whites were buying black slaves from black nations? What was the point of that?
What does colonization mean to you?
Okay, I'm gonna pull an SJW card and use the dictionary definition for this. So, according to this, it's simply setting up new colonies, new homes, and or labor sites. I would say that, to me, this is a fitting way to word what the word means to me, and I would like to add that this is something that all races have done over the history of our species.
You're welcome!
You do know crack and cocaine are both drugs, right?
Yes, as are alcohol, meth, and cough syrup. What's your point?
Can you find out why Bill Clinton thinks one should carry a harsher sentence than the other?
Yes, I can. And I have. Can you? First, there's the obvious fact, of which you are fully aware of. They are different drugs. They function differently. There are different levels of production and accessibility, and they affect communities differently. The reason why President Clinton, no, not Hillary, set up the laws that he did was because he was being coerced by black leaders that these bills were a necessity for their communities. They were trying to do good.
Now this one is for Flint. When are you gonna arrest Governor Snyder?
Let's ignore the obvious fact that in a video that is supposed to address an entire skin tone, making a question for a specific individual makes no sense. Let's also ignore the fact that Flynn is no longer able to make such a decision due to this video being as old as it is. The simple answer is that Governor Snyder did nothing wrong. If you really want to blame someone, how about the leaders of the city of Flint, since it is their negligence that has led to this problem? Or do you oppose that since they were all Democrats?
So when we talk about slavery, why are you uncomfortable? It's part of American history.
Uncomfortable isn't the word I would use. Rather, it'd be cautious. Because slavery is an ugly topic, and it's one that many blacks use as an opportunity to shame me because of my skin color. I do tend to have a similar disliking for other talking points, such as the Holocaust and whatnot, because they are ugly topics. However, I will engage in these conversations with people who appear to want to have a genuine discussion, rather than those that wish to criminalize me or try to get the government to seize what little property I have. Oh wait, y'all think I own CNN. Go ahead and take that.
Why do you want to adopt the fun part of black culture, but not the true lifestyle of black Americans?
While not necessarily applicable to me, my best answer would be that everybody likes fun things while hating the idea of getting shot. Why did y'all adopt basketball and football? Those are fun parts of white culture, after all.
I gotta know, why do you wear shorts in the wintertime?
This is an odd final question. Personally, I don't wear shorts, not even during the death of summer. unless it's within the confines of my own home. The closest thing to an exception I will make is McKilt.
Shut up, Carmen!
Those that do wear their shorts during the wintertime do so because they are comfortable. Typically, whites are more tolerant of the cold than blacks, and as such, can handle things like that better. Why do you care what makes other people comfortable? Why do you all have your pants sagging down below your asses? Why do y'all dye your hair blonde? You blacks are guilty of odd fashion faux pas too. So all in all, I would say that video is not quite as painful as going through a BuzzFeed video. But maybe that's because I was doing 7 in a row, or maybe it's because it's been a while since I've done a BuzzFeed video. I don't know. But, so yeah, hopefully at some point these people will get it, although, to be entirely honest, I really doubt it.